thank you to everyone in the Ghoul Gang who commented on my honest review of Season 1 of the Cuphead Show. All your comments have been amazing, and now I want to shed some light on my favourite ones about what things you loved, what things you didn't like, what things you'd love to see in Season 2 and beyond, and overall what you thought of the Cuphead Show. First things first, I'd like to thank all of the people who pointed out to me that mistakenly I said in my review that the Phantom Express doesn't appear in any episodes, even though I thought he was going to. He in fact does. It appears for a couple of seconds in a very small cameo where one of the ghosts holds up a door and the Phantom Express comes through it. So that's totally my bad, and I'd love to thank all of the Ghoul Gang members that pointed that out to me. There are also a couple more very small mini bosses from the original game that make tiny appearances, like Pip and Dot, that some people have also pointed out to me. It seems like it's a show where there have been lots of times where there are characters from the original game and bosses slash mini bosses who are background Easter egg type characters rather than being prominent and directly related to an episode, which is kind of more what I was wanting to push for in the original review that I did. Even though the Phantom Express does have that small appearance, I would have liked to have seen him in a more Ribby and Croak style role or a root pack role where it is an episode dedicated to that boss. So yep, just wanted to get that out of the way with and clear the air a little bit. But now I'm going to take to your comments. I would love to read all of them, but sadly not enough time in the world, and the comments have been coming thick and fast on this one. So I'm just going to select a couple of my favourites. The first one comes from Rinzi. I agree to everything you've said. These 12 episodes are more of an establishment of the characters and world building. Future episodes would probably get more into the Cuphead lore. Handle with Care is one of my fave episodes, as well as Sweater of Dead, and I have a feeling Season 2 will be released after the DLC due to the Chalice being a new character in both medias. Really good comment, Rinzi. Thank you very much for that. Yes, I think that the 12 episodes work really well as that kind of establishment series where, here's our characters that we're going to be spending time with, getting used to the world a bit, getting used to that animation style a bit, before down the line we can start pushing for more bosses to appear, more complex interweaving storylines, perhaps if they choose to go in those directions. I would love to see more 2-part or 3-part connected stories like the Sweater episodes, and hopefully after the DLC comes out, and I've no doubt it's going to be well received, that some of the new bosses and characters from the Delicious Last Course can transfer over into the show in the same way that Miss Chalice already has. So thank you for your comment, mate. Next comment is from Ellie Akkad. I really like the episode lengths. It's short and sweet. I had to look up if it was a kid's show before watching it for the first time though. But so far I'm definitely enjoying the show. I really only watched this review to see if others felt the same and to verify if there was potential for a Season 2. Great video and very well put together. Thank you very much, Ellie Akkad. Yeah, the episode lengths I think work in its favour because it doesn't overdo itself. It just gives it enough time to get the story across. They're not overly complicated episodes. They start off, develop the kind of theme that they're going to run with for the first minute or two, and then come to a nice satisfying climax. Obviously you've got the 2-parters that are a bit more of an exception, and I don't think they should ever really make the episodes any longer. I think they do just punch really nicely the way that they are currently. And yes, there is definitely potential for a Season 2. There's a lot they've not tapped into yet. So thank you for your comment. Next one comes from Trail Guide Alex. Love the show. Will admit this isn't what I wanted. I wanted to see the fights, I want to know why the sinners made a deal with the devil, and man, I wanted to see more of the casino. The backgrounds of the casino could make their show alone. Yeah, I agree. I definitely want the casino to come into the show at some point because it's one of my favourite parts of the entire game. The King Dice boss fight is my favourite boss battle of the game, and it's just something that really hasn't been tapped into just yet. I don't know if they'll go into the route of the gambling aspect because of it being really tailored towards kids. So will we see kind of the cigar mini boss? I don't know. There's a lot of things that they should be doing, but it kind of seems like they might not go in those directions for many, many years. And that's upsetting, because if you're adapting a game, you want to tackle a lot of things that people love about that game. And they've almost, in a way, stripped it back to an age group where tackling casinos and gambling and, signing your soul away to the devil might just seem a bit too adult themed for what they're kind of intending, which is why in my review I said I really hope that they figure out in later seasons who they want to tailor the show towards, because they've kind of got this weird blend going on at the moment where both sides of adults and kids gain something but lose something. So adults gain the fact that they've got a series based on a game that they love, but they lose an element of comedy because of it being really kid friendly. But then on the other hand, kids will watch the show and no doubt love the show. Oh, Mom, Dad, I want to go and play Cuphead now. Or they buy Cuphead for the kid and they just get absolutely pasted by the difficulty. So it's weird why they've done it the way they've done it, but hopefully it's just a starting block that they can develop and flesh out at a later time. So thank you, Alex, for that comment. Next up, we've got a comment by Dariel Rojas. I too found myself hoping for more of that feeling you get while playing the actual game, which is to say the level of absurd, surrealist, and a bit more mature in tone, humour, and narrative elements that fully flesh out Cuphead as a product that's heavily inspired by the cartoons of an era that the developers were paying homage to. But regardless, I choose to think that it's equally remarkable that they decided to actively aim this show to a younger demographic, given that children nowadays don't get many old school series with this level of quality that often. Kids deserve good stuff too, and I'm more than satisfied with the hours upon hours of pure unadulterated frustration and adrenaline that the game provides for older adult players. It's not like I didn't enjoy the charming, more laid-back tone of the show either. It was a nice change of pace and a welcome one. I kinda miss this type of easygoing cartoon that one just puts on TV to get our minds off from the complicated stuff for a bit, and I did get a good chuckle every now and then, so I'm looking forward to see what the future seasons have to offer. Oh, this is a brilliant comment, Dariel, and thank you very much for posting it to the video. Yeah, I agree. I mentioned a few times that I wish that it ran more with its absurdist comedy that was seen in the Handle with Care episode. That was my absolute highlight of the series. It's such a glaringly obvious scenario for Mugman or Cuphead to get in, where a part of the mug breaks, but just seeing where that can go, how far can we roll the boulder, in a sense, to keep it engaging and keep it funny. And I think that's what made it work a lot. I would just love more of that, because there were a couple times in the series I was thinking, obviously, even though I've never seen this episode before, the narrative elements feel like things that I've watched before in other series, rather than it pushing to be its own kind of unique thing. It's reliant a little bit upon sort of conventions of these type of series just to get established before hopefully it goes on to do more playful, take, a few more risks, and generally just come across as, I guess, more humorous for the adult market, who I think perhaps could have been tailored for a bit more. I do love your element to your comment, Dariel, that, the kids do deserve good stuff too, with the classic animation style that they don't really get very often. That's amazing, because, in my review I mentioned Popeye meets Sinbad, and that was something that I've known about since I was a kid. I went into... you'll know these if you're from England as well, but you get pound shops where you can walk in and everything in the shop costs £1. You'll get dollar stores in the US and things like that, but I went into the pound shop and I bought a Popeye DVD for £1, and it had Popeye Sinbad on there, and that's where I developed my love and my kind of admiration for the Fleischer techniques and rubber hose and all those kind of things. And they've obviously thrown them into Cuphead and the Cuphead Show, that I absolutely adore them for. The animation is one of the greatest pull factors for enjoying Cuphead so much, and for that knowledge and that style to be then passed on to a brand new generation of kids who perhaps have never seen anything like this before. It's just keeping the interest in that field of creativity going, so I really do applaud them for doing that. Amazing comment, Dariel. Thank you so much for putting that on. This comment comes from Mad Max. The complete lack of combat is what disappoints me most. I really want to see some action scenes. I absolutely agree, because of Cuphead being a boss game. You know, you go to play Cuphead for the challenge of the bosses. Now, don't get me wrong, the run and gun stages probably gave me more of a hard time than a lot of the bosses did. So some run and gun stuff down the line would be great. The plane levels were horrendous for the most part, like especially, you know, Dr. Carl's robot and Wally Warbles. Like, I had a really hard time with Wally Warbles. I probably died more on him than any other boss at that point of the game. And at the very intro piece of the Cuphead show, you see Mugman flying around Cuphead, so you think, okay, maybe the planes are going to make an appearance in the series, and they don't. It's a kind of teaser thing again, in the same way you have the mini bosses sort of on screen here and there, but they don't do anything plot related. You know, the very intro to the show has Calamaria, it has Captain Briny Beard. Yes, it's got Grim Matchstick as well, who does pop up in a later episode, but, you know, you're still like, Maria and Briny Beard are there. They're there from the very first episode in the intro sequence, so you're kind of waiting for them to appear in the show, and they don't. So it's a tactical choice for later down the line introducing them and using these like very small cameo appearances to establish them in this world. But there's been nothing really so far that has indicated the combat aspect coming in. The closest I think that we really get is in the Ribby and Crooks episode, where they're both like punching away trying to hit Cuphead and Mugman, and they're like running away from them, but they never really fight back. It's more just like running away trying to dodge out the danger. Like, they've not got their sort of finger gun abilities yet, and we don't know if they're even going to develop those abilities. I seriously hope that they do, and hopefully we get to see more of their abilities, you know, not just the pea shooter, but hopefully give us a chance to see the chaser, the spread, you know, all those kind of things that we know and love from the game, as well as, you know, them actually trying to take down the bosses. But also, so far in the series, we haven't had any kind of proper look at soul contracts. So in a later season, it would be great for the main overarching plot of the series to be, right, Cuphead and Mugman now need to go out and get the contracts, and that's when the boss battle elements come into play. But that's if they decide to go in that direction or not at all. Some people have said that they think the Cuphead Show Season 1 is like a prequel to the game, which it definitely feels like. However, it also kind of feels like it's its own timeline and is going to go on its own path with its own ideas, just inspired by the game. It's not really been confirmed which of those is correct just yet. Obviously, we know that the devil wants to get Cuphead's soul, and that appears in a couple of episodes, but at this point there's no indication about the contracts. And with that being kind of more of an adult theme, is that something that they would pick up and run with in this series? And I honestly don't really know at this point. And the last comment I'll say for now comes from C Justice Happen 21. If the best criticism you can offer is that there wasn't enough of it, then what else needs saying? I binged the show the day it aired, and Daddy wants more. Well, I do as well, and that is, you know, on the surface of it, the whole point of the show, I think. We've all kind of come out of Season 1, or at least a lot of us have, going, I really want Season 2, I really want to see more bosses, I really want to see where they take the story, I really want more of these scenarios. Generally speaking, Season 1 has worked in kind of lighting the fuse of where the Cuphead show can go in future. It's got the interest out. So far, it's become really popular. There's a lot of people watching it, a lot of people commenting on videos, a lot of people making videos on it. It's got a genuine buzz that's awesome to see because of just how great the game is, and the game deserves to have that fan base expanded, and it does deserve to have new people who've never even heard of Cuphead before click on Netflix one day, see the Cuphead show there, give it a quick watch, go, I enjoyed that. Oh, there's a game based on this, amazing, I'll go and play the game. And then that's That's what I would love to see. I want more people to experience Cuphead. I just hope that they give it the time and the patience required to get through it, because it's a nasty game, and, you know, once you get through it, it will change you completely as a gamer. And it's that challenge and that accomplishment by doing so that just makes you super attached to Cuphead. And all the people who've experienced it, in the back of their minds, can think, this thing is so good and I just want more of this in my life. And that's what the Cuphead Show has delivered on. It's delivered on giving us something to whet our appetite and then go, okay, if you like that, stick with us. We've got more seasons coming, and we hope you enjoy them. But ultimately, I hope that videos like this, like the fan feedback style videos, gives not only a forum for us guys to have a chat about things and how we feel about stuff relating to the show, but also puts a bit of content out into the world where the people behind the Cuphead Show could maybe take a listen to it and go, okay, that's cool. We hear what they think. We've got their feedback. Let's see if we can utilize that and, you know, make the improvements to the show, make the changes that possibly will make our show better. So on that, I'd love to thank every single person who commented, and even at the time that I'm recording this fan feedback video, the comments are coming through just so quickly. As I say, I'd love to talk about all of them. I do at least try my very best to put a thumbs up and a love heart on everybody's comments, because every comment makes a difference and helps the channel out in the algorithm and pushes Unleash the Ghouls to brand new people who can come on board. So thank you very much for your engagement. I've been Connor from Unleash the Ghouls, and I shall see you next time for some more fan feedback.